Good day and welcome to Lifestyle League. My name is Arthur Mafokate and today I'm chilling with Dr. Thabo Manetsi.
Thank you.
Good day, doctor.
Good day, sir. Good day, Arthur. Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
How are you?
I am good.
I wish to be called a doctor one day. But Dr. Mafokate.
You'll get there.
One day.
Yeah, you'll get there. I mean, you're doing very well. Yeah, what I see around and, you're uplifting young people here and I can see there's prospects of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we might have another doctor from this audience.
Even from you.
Thank you, doctor.
Sure.
You've just been appointed as the CEO of the National Heritage Council.
Yes.
And a lot of people out there might say, what's the National Heritage Council? Sure. Who's Dr. Thabo Manetsi? Where do we start? Do we start talking about the National Heritage Council, or do we start talking about who Dr. Thabo Manetsi is?
Yeah, maybe briefly, let me give a quick background about myself, and before we get to the entity itself that I'm heading. I am Thabo Manetsi, born and bred in Soweto, in Dobsonville. I grew up during the height of apartheid, late 70s, 80s, and I saw it all. I was part of the Bantu education. I graduated from there to go to other, institutions of learning, to be exposed to so many things about, opportunities in careers, in, various subjects, and disciplines as well. And and ever since, my childhood, my primary education, high school, and also into tertiary, I've never stopped learning.
Yeah.
I am still even learning even now.
And you expect me to be a doctor when I had to take a break and go on stage and start dancing?
They say you are not old to learn. Yeah, you should open yourself to learning more. Especially when you make that your lifestyle. Even if you take one course a semester, or you take a short course, for 2 weeks. That is still empowering.
Yeah.
It makes you a better person, a wiser person. It improves and grounds your knowledge as well. Yeah. So I started, humble beginnings, growing up, getting all the education information, and yeah.
And I'm looking at Dobsonville and I'm thinking, I don't actually know a lot of learned people from Dobsonville.
Yeah, we do.
Like, what inspired you?
We do have a few. I mean, Dr. Matseke, who's...
Dr. Matseke is not Orlando, it's Dobsonville.
He's Dobsonville,
Okay.
yeah. He was residing, he was a resident of Dobsonville and taught at Matseke in Orlando.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
And the school,
that's why I was linking him with Orlando. Okay, yes.
Yeah, and he taught the likes of... our late Archbishop Tutu,
Yes.
and various other iconic leaders, in society.
And I'm mentioning this because I'm trying to also get young people to understand that you can actually be inspired by people close to you. Because most of the time we look at TVs and we look at abroad and we forget that our role models are actually next to us.
In our societies, right in our backyards. So I looked up to such people who were quite, inspiring and motivating to young people like myself. There are many others. There's also the former Ambassador Rakwena as well. He was attached to Dergo. There are many others. I mean, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Block 7 as well. A few others, iconic, figures, that we looked up to in the 80s,
But then, did you plan to end up in the tourism and heritage space, or you just wanted to be somebody out there? Like, for example, when I grew up, my mom wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
They had to choose for me. What did you want to be?
Well, my parents never imposed anything. They actually said, no, the choice is up to you. Select what will work for you, what you like, in other words. So that you commit to that career path, But fortunately, I come from a family of also, visual artists. as well. My dad was, you know, a visual artist. He later became an architect.
Oh,
and
wow.
then my sister also a visual artist and, you know, and an architect. And then we followed basically that path.
My late brother wanted to be an architect.
Yeah.
He loved it passionately. And I
Yeah.
don't know how he ended up in the studio saying Minwana Pezul, but all he wanted was to be an architect.
I can imagine, yeah. But so we were inspired really, and from an early age, I mean, quite exposed to the visual arts. We used to attend, you know, even classes, you know, on visual arts and performances at Funda Center.
Yes,
I don't know whether you know Funda Center in Soweto, yes. And then
I went to Funda Center, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, it was so amazing in the 80s. I mean, it was quite an organic space for learning and development.
And you would feel like a star walking into Funda Center. You would imagine yourself becoming something in future.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah, it was so amazing at that point in time because I think that was the only center that was very, very committed to the upbringing of young people within the space of the arts, you know, culture, education, and development.
What happened to Funda Center?
I'm not too sure at this day and age. I hear that it's still there, but it's not as, you know, well
run as it was before.
And also marketed, you know, as it used to be.
And it's not like we're saying it from a bad space, but we are just saying that it's no more you know, you remember you would think of Fuba or Funda Center.
Funda Center.
And
Definitely.
if you're in Soweto, you go to Funda Center. But if you're in Joburg or coming from outside, you think of Fuba.
Of Fuba, that's true. That's true, yeah.
So you went to Funda Center as well?
I went to Funda Center and both my sister and I mean, would basically go out there, you know, and get our grooming, you know, in the visual arts. I majored in sculptor. You know, in sculpture, and I'm a sculptor as well. I went to study again, you know, Bachelor of Fine Arts and this and that, up to honors level as well at the University of Soweto then after my matric. And
so you even went to Fort Hare for
that? Yes, yeah.
It's just so amazing, you know, listening to what you're saying, more especially talking about Fort Hare, because somehow Fort Hare, then, if you wanted to be somebody, you had to go to Fort Hare. You're thinking of your Mandelas of this world, all the great leaders that had to go to Fort Hare.
Fort Hare University,
and getting to Fort Hare was the ultimate.
Definitely, we're all looking forward to going to Fort Hare.
But why does somebody like you choose to just be dealing with sculptures?
Yeah, no.
Because I'm sitting here today, I'm still thinking, do they even make money? Because I love these things, and sometimes I complain about the prices, and I sit down and say, but it took a lot of hard work for somebody to produce these sculptures.
Definitely.
Is there a serious career there?
Yeah, so in terms of career, really, you'd you go in for, you know, for it, you know, for the long haul of it. Yeah, you don't just say that from the outset you'd want to actually see material benefits out of that, you know.
It's more about passion first.
It's you put your heart, your passion into it, you know, and once you do that, then that's when you can see basically how people react and respond to what you have created as well. But nowadays it's much easier than before, because it used to be difficult really to market you know, our exhibitions, our artworks and so on. You know, you'd actually have to wait for arts festivals and so on, and also get gigs here, get commissions, you know, to do pieces, you know, for individuals, for corporates and so on. But the real joy of being an artist is to be able to really bring things to life.
Tell a story.
You know, and tell a story, a narrative about what you see, what you're experiencing, your own interpretation of this reality, you know, and using the visual power to tell that story as well, you know, and obviously using your own imagination, your artistic creations, your innovation, basically to tell that uniquely, you know, creative, story as well.
Have you told some of those stories, or you got to a point where before you could even start telling the stories and then you got hijacked into some other career?
Yeah, so what happened, I was very exposed also beyond just the arts. One of the key things that I wanted to achieve also as an artist, besides majoring in sculpture and also art history, I always wanted to, I was very much interested in the provenance of any pieces of art. In other words, its origin, its authenticity, where has it been? What was the thinking about this creation, behind this creation? In which eras was this piece created? What was happening during that era and so on?
So you wanted to also teach?
So the teaching part came through. But beyond just the teaching part, the historical depth of understanding where certain things come from, creations and the thinking about it, the symbolic, the meaning of all of these things that we create. Surely if you build a house, it's informed by ideas, a set of ideas. It's informed by meaning, sometimes symbolism. Sometimes a house, a beautiful house, has to resemble your character.
Let me ask you a question. Would you say sculptures represent culture or heritage?
Yeah, so very important. It's very hard to distinguish as well, yeah. But I'm going to come to the very simple definitions between culture and heritage as well. Although they are intertwined, there's this indivisible link between the two as well. But what is important about a piece of artwork is that, especially the one that has historical depth in it, it tells also a story about important epochs of the past. For instance, if you look at a lot of protest art during the 80s that came from Fundacent and Fuba and many others, and Mano and various other
Mano is in Dobsonville?
It's in Dobsonville as well, yeah. Rocks Drift in KZN, and Forte as well. You'll see that it was art that was in protest of the struggle of the day, for the liberation that we are actually, the freedom that we are enjoying now, So it captures the moment, salient moments in our history.
And sorry, because we're talking something very interesting, and I'm now intrigued by the topic. Who were doing those kinds of protest art?
A whole lot of artists. I mean, we've got Gerald Sekoto,
Gerald Sekoto, yes.
Gerald Sekoto.
In fact, he's famous, very famous.
Yeah, very famous.
Legend, in fact.
Yeah, he's a legend. Now, this is a pioneer artist in our space. We've got Dumi Lefeni as well, very powerful pieces. We had Jackson Tlongwane as well, powerful sculptures that he produced, monumental pieces, garden sculptures that were really reflective of the heydays of apartheid as well. We have also people like Ernest Mangoba as well. Some of them went into exile as well. We've got people who are still alive like, Ndate Wali Sirote as well. Yes, he's a poet, but also he's an artist as well. We've got also a living legend, Pitika Ntuli.
Yes, I was about to come to Ndate Pitika Ntuli because not so long ago, he produced a sculpture and a lot of people were complaining that it's very expensive, and I started researching about sculptures then. It's not long ago, and I don't know whether it was overpriced or not, but when I started researching and I actually said, but this is not actually expensive. I think it was a sculpture for 1 million rand or something in Soweto. One of the sculptures is it in Diepkloof or something?
Yes, there are those sculptures in public places,
Because that's when I started investigating about sculptures, and I started saying, why am I always intrigued by sculptures? What is it that these guys do?
So when you interpret a piece of artwork, look at it in two ways, two frames. You have to look at, or perhaps derive the value in the meaning that is inscribed to the sculpture. So both the meaning and aesthetics Now, the physical fabric of the sculpture, those are very important qualities. And those are the ones that amplify the worth, monetary-wise, and also, the value of the sculpture from a cultural, heritage perspective of the sculpture itself. So the meaning and the piece itself, they actually go together to amplify or increase the value of the piece itself. And what also...
So it's the emotional attachment as well.
The significance.
Yes.
Yeah, the cultural significance of the piece itself.
But does our country at the moment, or our young people, even understand that? Because sometimes you find
not entirely
people toying or protesting and destroying that kind of heritage.
Not entirely. That's when I had to change careers and move into heritage, because I was passionate about public education, raising awareness about the importance of our cultural artifacts, that we have in the museums. Why are certain pieces in museums? What's so significant about this piece of sculpture or vase or this and so on, pottery, painting and so on? It was because of that as well. Because we have to really, really be, deliberate in taking the message out there to empower people to have a deep appreciation of these important artifacts and artworks.
Would you say it's a niche market?
It is a niche market. It's a serious niche market. And if you look at it closely, it's a market that has been always monopolized by a few elite as well. Because if you look at most of the art dealers and art collectors, it's not just average people. It's people who understand the meaning and the value of this, because artworks...
It's like photos and those paintings. And it's not even photos, it's paintings.
Paintings, in fact, even photography as well. Alf Kumalo, Bondate Alf Kumalo, Bo...
There's another one.
Sam Nzima.
Yes.
Bo Peter Magubani. And many others. Powerful black and white pictures that tell narratives and stories about moments, in time, during our history and this and so on, the epochs, the evolution of our struggles and so on, the streets of Soweto townships and, the poverty, that was always plaguing our society and so on. Migrant labor system as well, capturing that very well.
Sophia Town era.
Sophia Town, District 6, Alexander, all these moments that actually capture historical moments, of our people as well. So you find that the meaning, as I said, elevates the piece of artwork, because of the meaning associated with that piece of art. But I was coming also to another point also, what adds value to the piece of artwork, it's also the artist, who is the creator of this work as well. Depending on how well-versed and knowledgeable and also popular, the popularity of an artist, the creator of this piece of artwork, it also adds value to it. So
because they've built their
profile,
and we also understand the type of art that they produce
through their lenses. Through their own interpretation, through their creation. Can you see? So
it's like with photography, you were to say Sam Nzima, Peter Makubane. You mentioned another one.
What is it? Alf Kumalo.
Yes. Then once you see those names, you want to check the picture. I
Definitely.
do that. Yes. And I know it's a black and white picture. But I still.
And
so even with art, the same.
So art does that. It has the same effect, but it's a different medium than to photography, graphics, and many others as well. Similarly with music as well.
You would be interested in certain names.
And then music, similarly, music and artworks and artifacts, they tend to have this intergenerational and generational significance, which never dies. It's perpetual. And if you look at also in terms of the value itself, it appreciates over time. It's vintage, it appreciates. It never depreciates. over time, And the minute it also exchanges hands, that's when the value also goes up. Yeah, because that's how the markets work as well. Mandela's gloves, the boxing gloves, at the time when he bought them, they were very cheap.
Yeah.
But these gloves
But they keep
associated with this iconic figure of the struggle. And anything that is associated with an iconic figure of the struggle during that epoch of history, it carries the value. That's why I'm saying it's the meaning, the symbolism, the attachment to a figure, to something, then that actually increases the worth and the value of the pieces, the object itself, the heritage object or artifact or artwork.
I know now you are the CEO of the NHC,
yes.
But there's been a journey before then, which made them recognize you now.
Yeah.
But, it's because of the beauty of the things that you've done with that emotional attachment.
Yeah. What has happened over time? I mean, heritage studies, we came across heritage studies late when we actually graduated, from our junior degrees and so on. And there was this new course, on the market, heritage and museum studies. And we're asking ourselves as artists and historians at the time, what is this about? And when we looked at basically the course outline and getting into the background information and so on about this program, we saw value in it. And when one looks at the nuances of the program itself on heritage studies, one can say heritage really it's what is it? It has made history more palatable, because history is perceived to be dull and boring and this, but heritage is the sexy aspect of history, if I were to put it that way. It's the most appealing aspect of history. Can you see? Because it talks about things that you can easily relate with. Whereas history at times tends to get into in-depth, specificities of a particular subject matter, which is well and good, but really going into these layers of history and unpacking them and so on, it could take forever and so on for you to have a full, deep understanding and grasp and appreciation of that particular historical subject matter. But with heritage really, really sums it up easily for you, all of it, and say, no, this is basically how this thing it's shaped.
But what made you be attracted to that?
So what made me attracted or have interest in heritage was precisely I wanted to understand basically what is the meaning of things, what informed a particular object, that finds, space in a museum. What makes certain, elements, of our cultural landscape so meaningful that they are always reflected upon. In the public domain, they would say that, the Enoch Sontonga song, it's powerful, is this, and so on and so forth. You want to get into understanding, basically, what made it so significant. Artworks by Dumile Feni, what's so important about this, and so on. And that's where my interest was really, really, triggered.
Are you in university at the time? You're still at university, but...
I'm at university and I've just finished my honors. I'm thinking of getting into a master's degree in fine arts. I'm in a dilemma, crossroads. There's this new course on heritage and museum studies.
And they're telling you about opportunities.
So I had to choose. So I ended up taking this postgrad diploma in heritage and museum studies, and I was stationed on Robben Island for a year, staying there, reading towards this very interesting, program, Very useful program, very empowering, because it was a program that was geared towards empowering people who are working, emerging professionals that are working within the heritage space, in museums, in heritage sites, in various heritage institutions in the continent. And then we all converged on Robben Island. I think it was around 2000, the year 2000. So the whole year, basically, we were locked there, studying this thing of heritage, starting with Robben Island itself, understanding the different layers of history of Robben Island, what makes it so important, what actually makes it have this cultural significance that makes it a heritage site, a national heritage site, now a world heritage site as well, and the curation of this heritage as well. How do we curate it in such a way that we make this information accessible, for public consumption, for deep appreciation by young people, by the domestic market, by the international market as well, because again, what brings people to our shores, they say that people are interested in history and so on, that which elements which uniquely define us.
There's two things in this country. Elements that define us is apartheid era, post-apartheid era.
Definitely.
Which one do you sell to the world?
So it's
because I feel like sometimes it's the significance of the victory by your Mandelas of the world.
Yes, that's a
But then what
one.
do you sell? Do you destroy the past? Do you keep the past?
Very important question, Arthur. I think here you're making a very important point. So how this thing works in terms of selling the history or heritage, to an audience. What you do, basically, you latch on what is popular. So the popular narrative here is easy to sell. And this is a popular narrative of the post-apartheid era, because
achieved with less bloodshed.
Achieved with less bloodshed, with negotiations and this and that, and also ultimately ushering in this democracy, which is now a model, a symbol that can be replicated in other nation states as well. I mean, people look up to us, how we actually transitioned the learnings from there as well, because it was achieved, with no bloodshed, if I were to put it that way.
And hence I use the word less, because there was, but it was less.
Definitely, and also the negotiations that went into that. And, so people are drawing from those kind of learnings and experiences. And there was a seminal moment in our country which became so popular and well-renowned that it finds itself into a narrative that sells now the post-apartheid rainbow nation, of reconciliation, reconstruction, healing, and so on and so forth. Although the healing project and the reconstruction, they are all ongoing, but that marks a very important seminal moment for the start of that process as well. Can you see? And then ultimately ushering in our constitution, because this is the best, in the world, and so on and so forth, again, which hinges on the various democratic values as well, of diversity, embracing, the different cultures, different, linguistic groups, religions, and so on and so forth as well.
I want to ask you about the constitution.
Yeah.
But my next question was the learnings of that Robben Island 1 year with other countries. Yeah. But now you've just pushed me into talking about the constitution.
Yeah.
You find political parties. I don't know whether it's popularism where then suddenly the constitution is not the best. So how then do we then say it's correct or not? Do we follow the political parties, or do we follow the narrative that's been sold to the world that it's the best constitution?
Yeah, no, there will always be contestations. Yeah, contestations are always there, and democracy should be an enabler of contestation. That's how democracy grows and matures. If you stifle contestation, then it ceases to be a democratic state.
Oh, yes.
Can you see? So
Yes.
that's how democracy grows, and that's how we're measured by this, government of national unity. Can you see now? Allowing for difference, and finding
To
each
work
other.
together.
And finding each other. Compromise, reaching compromises and working together towards achieving the same objective of nation building, economic development, empowering people and so on. Can you see? Alleviation of poverty and so on. Can you see?
Dealing with crime, unemployment.
Addressing all of those things in all the different political ideologies that we find in our space. But democracy should be an enabler for all of this diversity.
Thanks for that clarity.
Yeah.
The learnings of that 1 year.
Yeah. So you mentioned also as part of the learnings of that 1 year on Robben Island.
And who's there? Which countries are there?
Yeah, I'll get to that. But I wanted to raise one of the fundamental points that come with the learnings of heritage studies. Heritage also teaches you that even the most painful heritage or history or past, it becomes a very important aspect of our heritage today. The apartheid history, the colonial history, wars of land dispossession during, European invasion.
In fact, you guys need to even take it before.
Yes. Yeah,
before. Is it 1924? Before, from
18, whatever.
From the Intangible, all those.
Yes, you come with it.
I feel like our history is also not fully explained, because when I learned history at school, I learned something else.
Definitely.
And now I'm hearing about other things.
Yes.
And I feel like it's not even, before apartheid, there was history.
Colonial
that we're not
history.
Even celebrating.
There's a lot of colonial history. There's also history before colonialism as well. So that's why the entry point here will be the popular one. The Mandelization.
Yes.
I
like that, the Mandelization.
Post democracy. But we use that as an entry to teach people about now the various epochs, that have brought up the new South Africa that we're appreciating here. There were wars of colonial invasion, wars of traditional leadership as well, around land dispossession.
The Anglo-Boer War?
The Anglo-Boer War also, that came sort of like later, because the first wars were the ones of the traditional leadership,
The 1820 settlers?
1820 settlers, even beyond that. The Portuguese that came onto our shores, the encounters
Vasco da Gama
in the Cape with the Khoisan leaders and so on and so forth. It captures all of that, our heritage and history and past as well. It is a sad past, largely.
You're making me jealous. I wish I went to school, because I'm starting to think of my school days now. The things that I learned and the person I was before entertainment took over.
So we all draw from this past, one way or the other, when we talk about the heritage that we are celebrating now, because it's informed by the previous, pasts and heritages and histories as well. Democracy was not going to happen if it was not for the siege mentality and repression and oppression of colonialism and apartheid. There was not going to be a need for a democratic state, because we're living happily ever after. That was not the case.
Yes.
Can you see? And you were asking a very pertinent question: what has heritage studies taught us? It has taught us that we also have to embrace the painful history of the past. There must be space for it, in our cultural landscape, so that we also show people where we come from, what has shaped our present, and where do we want to go as a country as well. Because if you're unable to show that, in-depth historical background, people won't appreciate really what you have now. They'll say, it's a pie in the sky. It was not informed by anything. Can you see? So that's why it's important to also look after that painful history, so that history must not repeat itself where we again oppress each other on the basis of race.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why does the NHC exist?
Yeah, so the Heritage Council it's a post-94, post-democracy program and initiative that was ushered in through the white paper, and beyond the white paper, which made allowance for a new set of legislation and policies, as part of the legislative reforms and policy reforms process. A new act was enacted, the National Heritage Councils Act of 1999, to establish this entity, alongside other entities, by the way.
Why the need for this particular one?
So it was precisely established, the Heritage Council, under this act to promote, preserve, transform, and coordinate.
I love that. Let's repeat it. Preserve, promote.
There are 5 things that we do for fame under the ban of the Heritage Council. So we promote, we preserve, we transform, we educate, we coordinate.
Nice.
The heritage sector. We also provide funding to worthy community research projects, as well as the Heritage Council. So for me, those are the 6 important things that I normally tell even my children. What do you do, Papa?
Yeah.
You know what? They always ask me, what do you do for fame?
Yeah.
So I tell them, basically, this is what I do, as the CEO of the Heritage Council.
Yes, because I'm sure these young people that are sitting here, they are probably thinking, okay, I see Yasley history.
Yeah.
And why is it important for us?
Yeah.
And who's going to teach us this?
Exactly.
Because these ones are a lucky few.
Definitely.
I can go to Discovery Channel, to History Channel, to whatever channel, and get to learn about these things. But who's telling our South African story?
Yeah.
We are young. We don't know anything.
Yeah. So transformation is very important, and it's not an event, it's a process. So we need to really make a lot of effort in transforming even the school curriculum. What is taught at school also, it's still inadequate, to cover the broad, history and heritage of our country. They're starting to change and teach, histories that were, previously suppressed, of the black experiences of the black majority, African majority of South Africa. They're starting to do that, but it's still not significant. There's a lot of, work that must happen within the school, system. And that's where we also play a part, because we work very closely with the Department of Basic Education, beyond just working with the universities, higher learning and this and so on research projects about history, heritage and so on. But the key is that if we really want to conscientize our young people, get them excited about our history and heritage, you start there. Even beyond that, you go to the elementary levels.
Are you doing it? Because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking it was Bantu education.
Yeah.
But the history that I learned, I remember every little thing, trust me.
I can imagine.
From your Napoleon to your Bismarck, to Van Riebeck, to Vasco da Gama, to Shaka. Exactly. I remember all those things.
Yeah.
But when I help my kids,
I
don't see those things in our books.
Yeah. So that the Bantu education syllabus is the one that has been reconfigured. It has been seriously, most of it has been done away with as well.
And I feel like it might be a mistake. That's just me sitting alone when I'm thinking and I'm looking at the curriculum for my kids, trying to make them understand the importance of land.
So the important aspect here is to really, really bring in, histories that were suppressed within our learnings as well.
Infuse the two.
Infuse the two as well. Because you have this dominant colonial narrative that was taught to us through Bantu education. That was a dominant colonial narrative.
Because it was to control our minds.
To control our mind. Even if you were to look at issues of land, ownership, land tenure, the dispossession of land, via, the wars, of the battles that took place during that time, Fencani Wars and others and so on. You would find that that is told through the lenses of the colonizer,
the oppressor.
The oppressor, during that time. And that was what was taught, in our Bantu education all this time. So in this day and age now, we are changing that narrative to say, no, our people, especially our elders, historians, who are senior to us, these are people who are now coming forth, to say these were important narratives that were also handed down to us through the spoken word at times, through written, forms and so on, which talks about, the wars and experiences, of traditional leadership at the time. What was the thinking when they actually did certain things? The skirmishes that they did, so-called skirmishes. Colonialists, they will say those were skirmishes. But for us, it was a way of protecting ourselves, safeguarding our land, our territories, our cattle and so on as well. But that history is not told by the oppressed, unfortunately.
But who's going to tell it? I'm looking at the power of Sekhukhune, for an example.
Yes.
I just learned recently that he actually just didn't rule in Limpopo.
Yeah.
He ruled up to the Val.
There we go.
So who's going to tell me that story? That Sekhukhune was actually a powerful leader that ruled up to the Val.
Yeah.
Meaning he went past Midrand.
Yeah, even beyond as well, as far as also aspects of the Free State as well. That's how far
I didn't even know
you can trace his rule, which actually really went.
But why is the story of Shaka told, but the story of Sekhukhune not told?
It was a colonial narrative. Remember, colonialism will just lift a particular figure which they think it will be appropriate, and then they will diminish the other struggles of Makado, Ngungunyani, Mushweshwe, Langalbalele, and so on and so forth. Can you see? So
it's your role as the NHC to try and bring those.
So our role is to always re-educate all that. That's why I'm saying transforming even the syllabus, transforming the mindset. It's a process.
But is it part of your mandate to be dealing with the Department of Education? Are you allowed? Or are you just an influencer?
Yeah, we are allowed to enter into collaborations with the Department of Education because our acts, our laws, they are enabling for us to do that. And to bring in other people in the space, historians, research institutions that are researching indigenous knowledge systems about our indigenous histories as well to come in. We are creating a space. We serve as a conduit to allow others, the experts, to come in into the curriculum, really configure it, and put a lot of this important, historical information within, the curriculum. Because currently, as you would appreciate, our curriculum is still sort of like, it's still inadequate, it's still lacking a lot. Why is that so? It's because of the design sometimes of our curriculum system. Remember, everything that we do also mirrors, European experiences as well, and European experiences applied in an African context, they have limitations as well. So we are trying to break that as well.
You're looking at an American or an European, they love their football, they love their superstars, but they still respect their history.
Exactly.
They still understand the gods of London. They still understand the Queen when the Queen does this. But with us, I feel like we are getting lost. It's getting worse by the day. It's a big challenge for you guys.
It's a huge challenge indeed because of westernization, modernity, all these external stimuli, cultural stimuli that are coming from Europe, the West, and so on. Our young kids here, they are more interested in what they see, the popular culture that they see.
But how do you make it cool? How do you make South African history cool?
So heritage, as I said, is the most appealing aspect of history. If you look at the new genres that have come up now, for instance, into the space of the music scene. Amapiano.
Yes.
If you listen to the lyrics, the formation and assemblage of the lyrics, they draw from where? African idioms.
Yes.
Yeah. They'll be talking, narrating things and rapping in our own cultures. Can you see already there's something there?
Yes.
They won't emulate a person from the West, a rapper, a popular person there and say, no, let's use American things, because they don't understand it.
Yes.
But they'll be bringing theirs as well. And for me, that is a very progressive step, again, of making history what? Sexy. Our heritage accessible using these mediums as well. Can you see where?
But who's supporting them?
Yeah. So that's where we need to be playing as the Heritage Council, as the heritage institutions as well, so that we actually move with the times. Make heritage accessible, palatable, to the current generation as well. And use also the popular mediums that are out there. The tech, AI and, your music and so on, and all of those things as well. So that's where we find ourselves as well. That's why I was saying that this thing, we are transforming, But again, one of the things that which we have started realizing is that you'll see amongst young people now, I see it also with my kids. I see it sometimes when I teach, young folks at university and so on. They're always interested to figure out and map out their identity. Everyone is keen on that. You want to know who are you?
Yes.
Where do you come from and so on. Already you see some appreciation of the past, of appreciation of history, of heritage, and so on. Can you see? So for me, that is very important. That is a signifier that people are actually yearning, to learn about culture and history. If you look at in the past about 10 years or even 5 years ago, each time when we would enter the Heritage Month, it would be like quiet. But in the recent years,
there's a dress code in here.
There we go. There is also eateries.
Yes.
About local cuisine. If you look at basically Pretoria, Mos, you grew up that side.
Yes.
You are not interested in your McDonald's. You want basically ditlhakwane. You want morogonyana.
To be in touch with yourself.
That's it. Can you see? That yearning, where does it come from? Can you see? So that's where we need to emphasize and play a very, very aggressive role as the heritage institution. Embrace that, promote that, lift that as well. So we find ourselves now at this juncture where we need to just now move beyond just conserving for the sake of conserving. For heritage to find importance, put it to use. Don't wait to showcase your heritage and your identity during Heritage Month. Showcase it throughout the year. Live your heritage throughout the year.
I asked a question earlier on, and you then said you'll explain the difference between culture and heritage.
Yes, yeah. So the interesting and a simple explanation of this distinction would be culture is encompassing. Culture could be a lifestyle. And at times, a lifestyle is not steeped in history or heritage or anything like that. It could be a culture of playing golf, culture of drinking wine, a lifestyle country estate, because it's relaxed, the tranquility and so on. That is part of the culture that you're embracing. But with heritage, it places emphasis on the past,
history,
on the cultural significance, on history. as well. Can you see? Culture could be history. I mean, culture also draws from heritage. Can you see?
Yes.
Again, you know, it's our culture to talk our African languages.
Yeah.
Can you see? Culture is like broad. You know, there's a culture of, what is it? A culture of doing so many things.
Yeah.
That is culture. Culture can be modern, can be historical, can be this, can be futuristic as well, you know, something like that. There's a study called, I know at Stellenbosch University, there was a course called Future Studies, you know, and within that, that program, they'll say, you know, the culture of the new age, culture of the future. I mean, who knows the culture of the future?
Okay, I'm going to come. The culture of the future. That's a good one.
Yeah.
There is a lot of kings.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Yes.
They're part of heritage, right?
They are the custodians of heritage, of our history and heritage, yeah. You know, in a traditional, true African traditional setting, the custodians of our heritage was basically the royal, you know, council, the traditional council. You know, if you understand the people, if you want to understand a certain cultural grouping, you would have to go through their kingship, because their king basically will be their custodian, the custodian of that particular culture. So for you to understand and immerse yourself in that culture, you have to go through them, through the kingship and so on, because they would unpack basically, this is our Pedi culture, this is our Sotho culture, this is how we do things in Xhosa, Zulu, and so on. Can you see? So they're very instrumental as custodians of our culture. You know, there is the National House of Traditional Leaders. Yes. They also have provincial houses of traditional leaders, traditional and Khoisan leaders as well, because Khoisan also they're part of that.
Because I was going to ask you, who then looks after them? Who makes sure that they continue preaching what they're supposed to be preach about the culture? Is it that house, or are you guys working in conjunction with them? And on one hand, we are saying, let's make heritage cool. So do we then just focus on what they know, or do we also have other young people or other people that are looking at the future and say, how do we fuse the two to make people understand heritage? And one has had complaints that the NHC doesn't have budgets, every meeting that you go to. So how do you then achieve your goal? Does it exist there just for the fun of it? How are you going to achieve your goal?
Yeah, very important. Yeah, budgets are a challenge. They're a serious challenge. I mean, if you were to rely on government subsidies to fully discharge a huge mandate such as ours, resources won't be enough. So what we do, we work through collaborations. We influence other people's agendas. We insert our agenda, our interest within their programs. If it's traditional leadership, that we enter into a collaboration with them so that the agenda of heritage within their work is foregrounded as well. When we work with basic education, we want them, when they put together their curriculum, they foreground the agenda of heritage there as well. So that's how we work. Our currency is heritage, more than just the monetary subsidy that we get, which is so minimal, you know, and we are encouraged again to go out there, do a bit of resource mobilization, fundraising, and so on as well. Work with the private sector. You know, most African bank now,
yes,
they have a program that they've started called Isiko. Isiko, again, I mean, this is a new innovation really within the banking system.
But then one might say, okay, for African Bank, it makes sense because if I'm a marketer for African Bank, who better to partner with than Heritage?
Yes.
So it might be seen as marketing. Beyond the African Bank, who else can it be?
Yeah. So even others as well that we have been engaging with, FNB as well. If you look at their CSI programs, they're focusing on heritage schools, heritage education, this and that. And so Capitec, we're still engaging with them. Nedbank, they're into that space. If you look at the what is it, the Nedbank Cup.
Yes.
The opening that happened, the finals in case.
In fact, it was a celebration of our heritage.
That's it.
Even though my team lost, but
yeah, but you saw the assemblage of our heritage.
And, it was so beautiful.
And the various diverse displays.
Were you there?
No, I was not there.
Okay.
Mapantsula was represented there, Iskatamia there,
it was so beautiful.
Bakanga there, and so on and so. Can you see what has happened there? Yeah, it shows that even the thinking of the financial institution, it's embracing our heritage. Because
now that I'm thinking, and the crowd was screaming. It was beautiful. People were appreciating their heritage.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then picture now how many people in our rural countryside want now to be members of FNB, because they can see value in it. They are able to relate with what they come with. I know that, I'm not even speaking for the banks per se, but their mandate is to make money. They're profit driven.
Yes.
But the hook here that they've used is heritage, culture, of the people. They want to appeal to the same clientele, or to the clientele that they want to benefit from, using what they hold dear, which is their culture and heritage.
Which makes sense now, because it's not just one bank, so all of them are there.
Exactly.
Now it makes sense.
So I was also with
BMW as well.
BMW,
with the
Esther Mahlangu.
Yes.
Yeah, and many others as well. Can you see? So DSTV, Delicious as well. To a certain extent, I know they are moving into that space. Traditional cuisine, African cuisine, and so on. Masonja, one day you'll see that maybe coming up. Can you see already there's this embracing of our culture and heritage, things that set us apart from other nation states as well, that define our unique heritage and identity as well. If people leave their shores from America, Europe, coming here, they don't want to experience the same thing that they experience. They want that which is uniquely South African.
They used to go to that place at Dube. You know Dube?
Yes.
What's that
place? There used to be Ubuntu.
Yes. No, but there's that one here.
Yes, Kim Tone. Yes, I remember that, yeah. And they would, and
every tourist wanted to go
flock there
to that corner house at Dube.
Wandi's place.
Wandi's place,
yes. Yeah, to experience and imbibe a taste of South African cuisine.
And now they go to
Sakumzi and so Sakumzi, Vilagazi, and many others. Can you see? And if you look at now our brand Chisanyama, every young and old, international and domestic, you want to enjoy that Chisanyama. You want to do your Mohodu Mondays, somewhere. Can you see?
I saw sushi with local things as well, and I started thinking,
exactly,
sushi is also changing.
Yeah, it's changing. They're changing all of that and making it African as well. So that is powerful, because it shows you the power of the currency that we have here. And it's always important that people must do it in their own terms. Don't impose too much. Because if you impose too much of a heritage, because I love heritage, I'm passionate about it, and you're thinking that another person will share the same passion as myself. No, let them engage it in their own terms.
It's work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress, so that this thing can grow organically as well. If you don't do it that way, then they will desist from it instead of embracing it. As you want people in Mapiano, support them, because they're doing a good job, but don't change them.
Don't change who they are. I always say that to people. When I did Kwaito, I was never told what to do, and I insisted on doing what I felt was right.
Including Kwaito.
Yes.
That was historical.
Yes.
Those moments, we can relate to that. They really, really unconfined many of us, because we were locked at the time when we came with those hits during the 90s. They really unconfined us. They transformed us, because we moved from your European music and pop, and so we moved into Kwaito, a new genre, which is now our heritage. 30 years into democracy is our heritage.
So as NHC, do you...
And that's intangible cultural heritage. Yeah. There's tangible heritage, things that you can touch and feel. Like this. This is a heritage object. You can touch and feel it. There's intangible heritage, Kwaito.
Yeah.
Meaning Mapiano.
Intangible, but it's there.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what you taught us. You guys gave us a lot of intangible heritage that would keep us going. You know, even in those Model C schools where it was so difficult. But when we listen to that Kwaito song, we become radical.
Yeah.
It defines who we are. We want to fight, you know, and be free.
You, as NHC, do we go to you or do you identify projects that you link with?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because I'm going to make a controversial comment.
Yeah.
We've been applying
to
celebrate things like Kwaito, for an example.
Yes.
Documentaries.
Yes.
Kwaito is now over 30 years.
Yeah.
And we keep getting rejected.
Yeah.
And so the question is, do you guys choose who you partner with, or can people come to you and say, I'm a young person, I'm a great designer, I'm doing clothes that represent your heritage, just like my niece just won in France not so long ago.
Sure.
She used heritage and she came number one, you know, and she won in an international competition using heritage. Do they come to you or do you identify them?
Yeah, so how it works is that, and this is within our funding program. So every year we come up with themes, you know, and we make a call according to those themes as well. And I think that's where a lot of program or projects with the proposals at times, when you look at the alignment to the specific themes, you can see.
So it must be aligned with the theme of the year. Because the mistake we make is we just randomly
broadly, if you were to package Kwaito, for instance, 30 years under intangible heritage or living heritage, we've got a category called living heritage. Okay. People are not aware of.
No, we are not that educated.
So that's when we
confuse us.
We go out there and conduct workshops and empower people basically about what is these categories, our application process and all of that. Even though we've got a shoestring budget, we'll make it a point that we go out there. And now what we have done, the proposals that we receive that fall outside our scope, we refer them now to our sister entities, National Arts Council or others to consider. So you can
actually take, because somebody did say that a few years ago that they can actually take a proposal and hand it over where it belongs.
Yeah, so how we do it, it doesn't automatically work that way. We open a conversation. We have a conversation with our sister entities that, man, we have received so many that we think fall within your space. Let's have a discussion around these things. Can you see? At times we see that Ndate Arthur has actually submitted 3 proposals across all 3. And we say,
and you guys use more or less the same system.
Yeah, and it picks up that because we also don't want to be duplicating resources. And so we also want to spread the little that we have. And the sad reality, all of us are grossly underfunded. The sector itself broadly is underfunded. I mean, if I were to tell you, our budget is very little, you know, but we try.
You can say it.
Yeah, we try. I mean, it's not, and the reason why our budget cannot cover everything is because we can see already that areas which we can at least afford to cover would be around research, knowledge production, recording of the history, especially that resides within our elders who are dying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what COVID did, it was a huge disruptor, but it took a lot of our living human treasures.
I was about to say that earlier on, and I don't know, I got distracted.
Can you see?
The sooner we capture the history, the better, because people are living.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those living, we call them living human treasures. And these are people that have got wealth of information, and they don't have to be educated. And we want them to tell their stories as raw as
but
they
then
are.
if they are living human treasures but they can't do proposals, then how do you
There's universities that we work with community structures there and so on and so forth to assist the people.
Yes, because those are the people we need to hear from.
In turn, those people, they benefit a lot from this kind of resource that we make available. Sometimes we go out, we've got a program called the National Living Heritage Inventory. We go out deliberately now recording iconic leaders across. You know, people like, for instance, Bo Esther Mahlangu, Noria Mabaso, and so on. We have recordings of them.
In fact, we did some for the Department of Arts and Culture.
Yeah.
Boomam Gok Esther.
Yes.
And the other one in Northern Cape.
Oma Catherine as well, yeah.
Yes,
we
did something as well to that effect. Now I do understand what you're talking about.
So that's where we're.
I think it was called Fantuka Af or something.
Yes, that's it. So we are deliberately investing in that because we are losing these people. So with the little resources that we have to reprioritize all the time where the pressure points are. So that's
so
why
that you capture these things.
I promise you, because we cannot invest in bricks and mortar, build more monuments. We don't have that money to build monuments. The department can do that, but entities such as ours, with them, in fact, we are the one that the heritage sector, maybe the creative industries and others, they could be
heritage.
More.
They don't really care about you guys. I know that. That's why I'm always hearing in all the meetings that I attend that you guys. The heritage is not at the moment a priority. And talking about that, sorry to interrupt you before you go. This is another controversial question. 25 million rand was supposed to be spent on building a monument that had a flag. And it got attacked. And I was one of the people that said, but guys, we need such monuments because it's about our flag. Do you think monuments like that are not necessary?
Yeah, I think there's value to that, but also I feel strongly that we've got existing monuments that can be enhanced, to serve that purpose.
But they don't have flags.
Yeah.
This one had a flag.
Definitely.
There's nothing that can say to somebody, a tourist, I went to South Africa and here it is.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see the Mandela monument.
Yes.
You have to be during the day but there's nothing at night. But when we go to Paris, all of us have to go to the tower.
To the Eiffel Tower.
Yes. And you can't tell me that tower is cheap.
No.
That thing is a lot of money. So why are we refusing to fly our flag as a monument?
No, that's why I'm saying there's merits to it. There's also other facets to it. And then I was still focusing on the other aspects or alternatives, if I were to put it that way. The reality of the fact of the matter is that throughout the length and breadth of South Africa, across the cultural landscape, we have monuments, especially legacy projects, sort of like legacy projects that are out there. And one of the things that we discovered is that these legacy projects, they were noble initiatives when they started. However, we've got a problem of maintenance.
Yeah.
They're there, but they're not well looked after. Can you see? You go to Bizan, the OR Tambo, sites and so on and so on. They're not well looked after.
Whose responsibility is it?
So we've got various layers of management authorities at local government, provincial government, and national as well. At provincial government, that's where a lot of things should be happening, but they're not happening. Why heritage is not a funded mandate across. It's funded at national, but at provincial and local, the resources to look after this beautiful cup are not there. But the provincial and local, they must devise resources within their space as part of the spatial development infrastructure programs and so on to look after these resources. And mind you, you find that even the skill sets of a heritage practitioner similar to myself or yours, they are not there. Can you see? You always have to be going there now from national as a please, man, play your legislative role is this.
Yes.
Please look after this asset. And they'll say, no, we're building a road for services. Your heritage, let it wait a bit, man, because we are busy building schools and hospitals here and so on. We'll attend to your heritage, Thabo. We hear you, it's important, but we've got other pressing priorities at that point in time.
Who allocates budget for heritage? Is it the ministry?
No, it's the subsidy comes through the department from National Treasury, taxpayers' money.
Yeah, but then who then determines what you should get?
The department.
So it's still the minister.
So the minister depart,
Yes.
but at a national for his entities.
Yes.
At a provincial level, there are structures there that allocate budgets and so on.
So it depends on what kind of minister you have at that particular year.
At that point in time, but also the administrative, the government machinery at that point in time. So you won't find replicas of myself who are artists and appreciating this and that. No.
It might be the other way around.
Could be administrators who are like, oh, what? Heritage, hey man, I know there's this heritage here, heritage there and so on, but I must build this road first, man, and this crèche and this school first. And then, I'll look at. But we are saying that why can't you integrate that in your spatial development as part of the integrated development model, of a local municipality? So our work is big. It cuts across the 3 spheres of government. And it has always been like this since inception. Can you see? There are people who are interested in it, they take it forward, but as soon as their term ends, a new cohort, comes in, they say, but it's not the priorities of this administration. That's the priorities of the previous administration.
So, looking at South Africa, for example, NHC, and looking at your international counterparts, how would you say we are doing as a country?
We're still lagging behind, unfortunately, because of, as I indicated, even at national as well, in terms of the disbursement and budget allocation. Heritage finds itself at the back footer in terms of the competing with other pressing needs within nationally, broadly. I mean, now with COVID being the disruptor, we are now competing with the social grants. Again, priority now has been to create jobs, look after people's livelihoods and so on. That money, that's what we're also thinking, that at least it will come, part of it, to us. Going forward, we are plagued now by budget cuts going forward. So ministers really appeal to us as management of these entities to really think in a different way. Go out there, enter into partnership with the private sector and so on, leverage resources from there. Be proactive in going to find money as well.
So you as government still do proposals to cooperate? We have
to. we have to. But also the multinational organizations such as UNESCO, such as ICOMOS, such as what is it called, the EU and so on.
ICOMOS, you've been appointed there as well.
Yes.
What made you be recognized at such an international level?
Yeah, it's because of the work that I've been doing in the sector for the past, almost 30 years now. In the sector, creative industries first as an artist, now into heritage and conserving and publishing as well on topical issues around conservation management, and my active roles also at UNESCO, at ICOMOS and so on. So I am the president of ICOMOS South Africa. There are other presidents of ICOMOS in Africa as well, but our headquarters are in Paris as well. So you find that because of your experience, your history, and the roles that you have played, within the conservation management
What does
space.
ICOMOS stand for?
Yeah, it's the International Council on museums, not on monuments and sites.
Okay.
Yeah, ICOMOS on monuments and sites. Yeah.
So you are a great man. The fact that you are representing us internationally on topics like this.
Yeah, it's mainly ICOMOS is an advisory body really to UNESCO. Yeah, on issues of conservation management of monuments and sites. Now in Africa and various regions of the world, Australia, ICOMOS Americas, Canada, various European countries and so on. But all of this, we do it voluntarily because it's not funded by any government. It's mainly, it's an association, professionals, a body that basically we all volunteer our services as well. But we play a very important role to play that advisory role to UNESCO. UNESCO is a big multinational organization.
Yes, UNESCO is massive. The organization.
Yeah, it's massive. Yes. Yeah, so to just find your space there, it's very important.
Yeah, I interviewed some lady from UNESCO, and she was just breaking it down. For me, it's massive. Just amazing.
Yeah, it's massive. Just to find your space there and have a voice there and represent the interest of the global South. There, it's amazing. It's life changing.
Yeah, what an informative interview. Any last words, Doctor?
No. I must say that I would love to see a situation where we take the discussion of innovation and making this heritage more accessible to young folks. I mean, using your popular platforms and so on. We are very much open now to that. Mapiano in your space as well. Let's talk about the Kwaito.
Yes.
How can we memorialize Kwaito? There's a lot of research that we can also consider, backing up, so that it's properly documented, so that there are books that can be published or information that is thoroughly researched that can find itself translated into documentaries, film, and this and so on. We can even collaborate as the sector of Kwaito to go and find money together.
Yes.
Why not? Again, as I'm saying, Kwaito it's a very important aspect of our living heritage. Why can't we align and find alignment? Yeah, we're open to partnerships as well. I mean, we're thinking out of the box now. Definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, before he changes his mind, let's give it up for Dr. Thabo Manetsi.
Thank you very much.
The NHC CEO. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.